Today we're talking about Delta Force Hawk Ops. It's in a closed alpha right now on PC. I'll keep things short, just like normal. It's a shooter designed to compete with games like Battlefield, but also games like Escape from Tarkov and its Call of Duty counterpart DMZ. It's going to launch on PlayStation 5, Xbox One, and PC when it is officially out, and it will have crossplay. It's also free, which I think for most people is a huge selling point when they're trying to convince their friends to play something new. As far as official release dates, I have no idea, but it'll be nice to have a new free-to-play option in this area of gaming that right now is dominated by Battlefield, Call of Duty, and just the idea of repackaging the same old crap. Speaking of repackaging the same old crap, let's go over some of the bad things being said about the game because most people care more about that stuff anyway. Some concerns that the game is being developed with the backing of Chinese company Tencent, that they basically have stolen and reverse engineered a lot of mechanics in Call of Duty and Battlefield. The Chinese would never do that. And even if they did, and everything from the UI to the menus look copy and pasted, I mean, isn't it really the fault of Activision and EA for not creating something new and unique? That being said, the movement and shooting do feel a lot like Call of Duty and Battlefield, and those are games that a lot of people enjoy. I think, if anything, the biggest possible gripe I have with Tencent being involved will be seeing how exactly paid content is done. In its finished state, the game will offer 3 unique modes: Tactical Turmoil, its DMZ clone; Havoc Warfare, its Battlefield clone; and a campaign mode from which I understand is a remastering of the game Delta Force Black Hawk Down that released all the way back in 2003. That's a lot of content for free. And you have to wonder if purchases will be limited to skins and XP tokens, or if there will be things sold that tip the competitive balance. I can already tell you that leveling in this game seems, at least to me, someone that is not going to just no life this thing. It's going to take an investment of time. And things like XP tokens that immediately move your weapon level up a few notches or leveled your character faster are going to sell well and quickly if this game ends up garnering a larger following. I guess that makes sense with a game you're not paying for, but I could see that being a gripe for more casual audience that likes shooters as a way to kind of jump in, play, relax, and move on. My biggest gripe with the gameplay itself is the accuracy stat weapons have. If I'm playing a competitive shooter, where my bullets go shouldn't have an element of RNG to them. I don't think that's a hot take either. I don't know which game exactly made this kind of thing popular, but I just don't think in a first-person shooter especially that there should be any element of chance. I'm not the most accurate shot in general, just let my bullets go where I'm telling them to. There's some other complaints going on that I think are a bit much for an alpha. Like, there's obviously some performance issues. When loading into a match, the audio seems to take a second to kind of sync up with the player. The game on PC apparently loads a little bit better on an SSD. Those are things I think an alpha test is supposed to fix, and honestly are kind of expected. The other big complaint I'm seeing is that many matches are loading in with a lot of AI teammates. I would like to think this is just an issue of trying to fill matches in a closed alpha, and will not be something that is commonplace once the game fully releases. Playing with and against AI is just not fun in a multiplayer experience, but for a closed alpha, I'll live with it. Also, the time to kill feels all over the place. Some weapons I used felt like they mowed through enemies, and others felt incredibly lackluster, while only being separated by a few damage points difference. But I feel like that is what an alpha is kind of for, to take those values they've come up with and see if they really do feel good when you're playing. The good of the game is the 2 modes currently available, Tactical Turmoil and Havoc Warfare, both feel unique. I felt like I was playing 2 very different games when I went from loading one to the other. Tactical Turmoil seemingly has all of the bells and whistles that an extraction shooter should have, including missions, boss fights, encounters with other teams, as well as with AI placed throughout the map. This kind of game is not necessarily my thing, but when I was being run down by an enemy team with only a knife in my hand, I got a decent rush. I enjoyed this. Wait, did it really? Let's watch the longer version of this clip. I've been caught by an enemy team in the Tarkov and DMZ inspired mode, and I make a break for the exit. But this enemy team's movement and playstyle seems a little bit artificial. They're not real. Unless they are, and then I completely apologize for this. But when I am finally cornered and these guys should have me dead to rights, it's not a real fight. Again, I think this is fine when you're trying to fill lobbies with the game in a closed alpha, but I would hope that this will not be a normal experience as this game becomes more populated with players. Havoc Warfare is a pretty standard Rush clone with one team attacking and one team defending. Only 2 maps were available in the alpha, which I think is understandable, but aside from things I don't like about the game type in general, which is usually just the mindless throwing of bodies towards the objective, and medics not picking up teammates that they absolutely could pick up, the games I played were a nice escape, free from thinking too much, and more about just blasting away at enemies. I will say I don't know that the mode gave me the, oh shit, I'm really in this feeling that I have gotten from Battlefield games in the past. My final thoughts are, if you like Call of Duty or if you like Battlefield, you're going to enjoy the combat experiences offered to you by Delta Force Hawk Ops. If you've been discouraged or are apathetic towards those franchises because they did things like release sloppy unfinished games like Battlefield 2042, or just stop making content for the DMZ mode like Call of Duty did, you're going to be able to get your fix in with Delta Force Hawk Ops. I think the grind of leveling is something that you're always going to feel a little bit more in a free-to-play game. One last thing that I don't love about this game is calling itself an alpha. I don't think that this is too far from what we're going to see, at least gameplay-wise, when we get to the finish line. But it's a little misleading to say the product they're putting out is only in the alpha phase. Maybe I'll be proven wrong and the final version will have a lot more to it and will really open my eyes to their vision, but realistically, this was only called an alpha for marketing purposes and to build excitement. While there are certainly some things that need to be cleaned up, the gameplay itself feels incredibly polished. I don't feel like I'm driving a box truck to move my character. Environments seem partially but not fully destructible. The character abilities feel largely balanced and fun. The 2 big maps we get to play feel well designed and enjoyable. And it's just going to be a matter of, is the game good enough to make that time investment? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.